Welcome to Q&A Mondays here at MH News. I'm your host, Matt Haslam. Now, if you'd like your question read on the show, please email them to questions@mhnews.info and join us back here every Monday through Friday for brand new episodes. First question today. If you had the chance to get one free camera, what camera would you get and why? I would probably get the Lexus just because it's so nice and so expensive because I couldn't get it on my own. And then I would sell it probably and then get like 4 or 5 cameras that I really do want that are a whole lot less money. But that's what I would do. Just saying. What is better, film school or courses? I said it before and I'll say it again. I went to college for audio degree. I luckily got an audio degree, and then I got what they allow you to do is take electives. And so I took a bunch of film courses for my electives. And I think that's good if you want to do a bunch of different things. Get a degree in your main topic, but then get like courses in like subtopics. And I think even if you go for a film degree to get maybe electives in audio or lighting or some sort of different aspect, that way it can show people, you know, I got my main degree in this, but I have other experience. But I think overall that's what you should do. If you're solely on film, then get a film degree. If you just want some expertise on it, I think for the most part, if you're trying to get a job somewhere else, then they're going to look for a degree mostly, for like an at least associate's degree for it. I mean, for the most part, when you're trying to get out there and your resume out there, if you only put on your resume that you have coursework, then certainly people aren't going to prefer you compared to people that have a degree. Especially if you only have like experience. A lot of people say, you know, to spend the money you're going to spend on college on some film gear and go out there and do it yourself and learn from experiences. But I think for the most part, college is a way for you to work with people much better than you. It's for you to network with other filmmakers of your same caliber. And especially for me, like I went to a small little college nearby that, you know, even my college allowed me to work with professors who were, you know, ex-Hollywood directors. So you're going to be working with a lot of people that are much, much better than you. And I think that's what college is mostly for, is working with others that are much better, learning from them. And I think not going to film school or at least getting coursework doesn't allow you to learn from other people, because I mean, if you just get the experience and buy that camera, you're just basically going to be working on your own. So I think I would go to film school if this is what you're interested in, but I would definitely get courses in other areas. But if you're mostly interested in audio or lighting, get the degree in that and get coursework in filmmaking. Just saying. How do you firmly establish who's in charge of what in the production? Sorry. How do you firmly establish who's in charge of what in the production if it looks like a director, writer, or producer, etc., isn't being involved enough? I hate to tell you, buddy, but producers aren't typically involved in the project itself. Typically in the film industry or music industry, producers just finance the project and they don't really have a hands-on role. If you look at the end of most TV shows or some of that, you have executive producers, which just basically finance it. They have probably a majority stake in the movie or the show. And then you have on-set producers who are actually people that are on set with the cameraman. And they do have a hands-on role, but typically your producers don't have a hands-on thing. So they're probably not too involved. But if your director isn't involved, then, you know, really, how is the project going to succeed? Because a whole project depends on the leader, and if the leader's not being involved, then it probably ain't going to be that great of a movie or show. So typically if your director isn't involved, I would talk to the producer. Remember, there's a chain of command, so producer is above the director. So talk to the producer if you can. If you can't, maybe talk directly to the director and see. But typically if someone isn't being involved enough and you feel like they're not being involved enough, then what I would do is I would step up my game. For instance, if I'm on set or some of that and someone isn't being involved enough, I would step up and maybe not take on that role, because you don't want to be in charge of the whole production. You don't want to go into a set that you're only a production assistant on and then suddenly think you're the director. You don't want to take charge of everything, but definitely taking more of a role than what you were hired to do is good, because I think in a way, like, I can relate this to retail stores a lot, because, you know, back when I worked for a major big box retail store, I started as a team member, and then I showed that, you know, I can definitely step up. I can take the leadership role. My managers allowed me, they didn't tell me what to do most times, and so I stepped up. I saw things that needed to be done. I did them, and so a week later I was promoted to being a manager. So definitely stepping up and showing that you can do things beyond what you were hired to do, showcases to your management. Even if it's just a one-time gig, you can always show to them that, you know, you can take a more leadership role, and it's always good to show that you can do more. What's a good camera for a beginner? Canon T5i, but if you have the budget, I would go with a Canon XA10, just because it's a little bit better camera, and that's really what I want right now. I really, really want the XA10, but just at the moment I can't. But they're really good cameras for beginners, and I would say just go with that. If you'd like to watch our review of the Canon T5i, there's a link in the description below to see that episode. It's a really great episode on the Canon T5i, and shows a lot of the pros and cons. So I very much suggest watching that and enjoying it. But that's what I would say for good camera for a beginner. If you want something better, then certainly, if you have the budget, certainly go with something bigger, much, much bigger. But for the most part, the Canon T5i will serve you right as a beginner DSLR. Best way to film an action sports with a DSLR. Okay, so basically, DSLRs are good for what they do, but for the most part, I would say use GoPros. If you have to shoot action sports with DSLRs, I would say put it on a tripod and or a jib, and use really long zoom lenses so you can zoom into the action that's being taken place during the sport. So definitely use zoom lenses. But I would say definitely use GoPro for the most part for action sports, just because GoPros are made for action sports. DSLRs are made for in-studio use and, you know, around town use. They're not made for action sports, I don't think. For photography they are, but for the video and stuff like that, they're not the best. GoPros are the best for that application. DSLRs are a little bit harder to place, and they're a lot harder to mount to different action sports. Like, for instance, if you're trying to mount it to a roll bar or something like that for an action sport, then it's going to be a lot harder to put a DSLR into a car or something like that, whereas GoPros are a lot easier to mount. So I would use GoPros. But if you're forced to use DSLRs, use really high-powered zoom lenses, put it on a tripod so you get a stable shot, put it on a jib so you can get a stable shot, but you can get a high shot, and film it that way. That's my best suggestions for that. But for the most part, my best suggestion would be to use GoPro. That's our questions for today. And if you like your question read on the show, please send them in to questions@mhnews.info and join us back here every Monday through Friday, every weekday for brand new episodes. It's Q&A Mondays, mini topic Tuesdays, product review Wednesdays, and then main topic and how-to Thursdays, and then radio Fridays, which is our podcast episode. So join us back here for that. Have a good one, people, and see us next time. Thanks for watching, and subscribe to our channel for new episodes airing every Monday through Thursday. Have a good one.